This is a 2016 Ford Fusion SE with the 4-cylinder. I'm fairly certain this is the same with most of the Ford Fusions in this newer body style. Replacing the struts on this thing, they're complete struts. The part number for these are LS34-85631 for the right side, and the same number for the left side, but the only difference is the L and the R. So this would be right, that would be left. Driving it down the road, it has like a rattle noise in the front end, and in order to gain access to these, they have these metal clips that go along this edge here. There's 4 of them, one here, one over there, and one on the far side. Reach up under here and pull this panel up. These are 10 millimeter, which is very odd because they're extremely small. And instead of having to take the windshield wiper arms completely off to be able to do this, I've got a socket and my electric ratchet to be able to take off the front 2, and then 2 10 millimeter wrenches. I have a gear wrench somewhere, I don't know exactly where it's at, but it would be easier to use a gear wrench on this. But in this instance, I'm going to use this swivel end 10 millimeter that I've got from Blue Power, and then an open-ended 10 in the event I can't get this piece here inside of there. But there's 2 bolts on the outside and 1 bolt on the inside there. On the underneath side, you have to disconnect the sway bar link, which looks like it may be a 19 millimeter. Yeah, that is an 18. And then disconnect the brake line, which is a 10 millimeter. After you pull this right here off, you'll have to jack it back up into place or pull it down into place, depending on which direction this side goes. This side is a 21. This side here is a 24, or 13/16 and a 15/16 if you need to do it in SAE. This is also getting brake rotors and brake pads as well, so I will go over that. This feels like a 7 mil Allen, maybe a 6 mil Allen. There is no alternative for this unless you have all of the metric or standard, which would be between a quarter and a 9/32, I believe, or maybe 7/32. I can't remember exactly. This guy, the bolt for the caliper bracket, let's see, I'll go down to the bottom one since I can't really get into that. It is an 18 as well. So 18 to be able to take off the caliper bracket. 6 or 7 mil on the caliper bolts themselves. 24 millimeter or 15/16 here. 21 millimeter or 13/16 there. 10 millimeter here. Or if you have the same socket set like I have, that has, I think it's 16 point. This is for doing like square head bolts, triangle bolts, all kinds of stuff. It fits as well, and it's a 3/8. So you take these 2 out, this one out, and then underneath you take this bolt out, or this nut out. That's a 18 millimeter. This is a 10 millimeter. You want to do all of this before taking this loose because you don't want to pull on your brake line. Take the caliper bracket off, or take the caliper off itself first. Make sure you hang this up, because if you drop it, you end up breaking the liner on the inside and your brakes will not release. it'll push the brake pads out all day, but it will never retract if it damages the inside of it, which is not always the case. Then you take off your 24 and 21 on the top and the bottom. Then you have an ABS Christmas tree that's connected over here on the side. Sometimes you can pull them out by hand, and in this case you can get it part of the way out. I got a trim puller in there that I can get that the rest of the way out with. When putting this back together, I've seen this mistake multiple times. These have to go on just like this. It is an anti-rattle spring, and this is literally the only thing that holds this outside tension together. Of course the bolts will hold, but it won't stop this from torquing in and out. So this has to be on. The easiest way that I found to do it is put the bottom two pieces in. You could do it either way. I've done it multiple directions, but I had to use a screwdriver to get it off. These have not been replaced since the car was made, which was in 2016. You can take a screwdriver and stick it in here, or a bar, stick it in here and pop this out. You can even get it in here if you can get something inside of there. That way you get right in the center, you can get both sides off at the same time. This has like a little lip on the inside of it, and this has, I don't know exactly what you would call it, almost like a hanger that sticks out slightly and catches the inside of that lip. When you put this back together, you can either, one, put this part in first, put this on, and then push this back into place, or put this on first, then push this both sides back into place. That is extremely difficult. Or you can put these two in first, put this one in, and use a flathead screwdriver to pull this one out into place. But I will grab a screwdriver real quick and show you how I pop it off. Alright, I'm back with the screwdriver, and no, that wasn't a fart, that was my shorts. It won't come off this direction, so it won't come off that way. The only other option is going to be this side. There is a lot of tension on this. You can see how it sprung back. And based off of this correlation between these four pieces where this all mounts up, they're almost directly in line. So there is a lot of tension. And let's see if I can get this put back into place one-handed. Alright, so we'll try it the first way that I mentioned. You'll see here that I have the top two in and then the bottom one held on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with one hand. It usually takes me two. Yeah, it's going to take two hands, but you get the idea. It's almost in there. It's just a matter of pushing it back a little further. You may be able to... Oh, it almost popped me in the face. Okay, let's do the bottom side. Not like it's going to be any easier, but... Alright, the bottom pin is in. It was a lot easier. Went right in. It just trying to get the two pieces in at the same time. Getting it back off is going to be a different story though. So You can see that they're not directly in line, so if that gives you any idea on how much tension there is. Well, onward. We'll get this job finished and move on to the next. The back brake caliper and back brake rotor and brake pads are getting replaced as well. Excuse me. This one feels like it may be the same size as the front. M6 or a 6 or 7 millimeter Allen. These are the same principle as the front, although there's not as much tension on these. You can see, move it very easily. This back caliper itself, when you go to put the brake pads on, has to be rotated in. There is a tool specific for doing this. Oh my goodness, and all the rust. It's going to be one of these that have the pins on it. It goes inside the back and twists in as you're twisting this in. This piece, if you've never used one of these, slide it on to the long end, push it over, it slides into place. You may be able to use this piece right here as well. It comes with multiple pieces.